November. Out of 75 albums, one of which is the Eyes to See album by Taj Weekes. A number of them would be nominated for the Ultimate Award. Taj Weekes is standing by. And this is from his album called Eyes to See. The one which has been considered for the Grammy. I and I Experience.
Through the highs and lows, we find our roots in this world. Search for the truth. Every soul has a story.
I Experience. This is music coming from Taj Weekes from the album Eyes to See. It's an 11-track album, and it kickstarts with I Experience that goes all the way down to track 11, Wildfire. You know which one my favorite is? I have a number of favorites on this album. And Taj Weekes is joining us live from his base in New York City, right there in America. He's originally from St. Lucia. Taj Weekes, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you doing? Happy to be with you.
And you are sounding so clear. In fact, tens of thousands of people are listening to you online, and many more are watching you live. And on manual radio, many more. One more time, thanks so much for making time to join us.
Oh, man, thank you for finding time to have us.
Well, I mean, Taj, these days, people hardly record live music. I mean, listening to your album, Eyes to See, it looks like the whole album was recorded live. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're correct.
Why do you still want to sound so authentic in a world that is so digitized and everybody seems to be running away from the old thing of doing this analog recording?
Because I cannot change my essence. I am who I am, regardless of whether the world changes or not. You know, I am a musician. So, you know, I got into this music for, you know, to elevate and understand the art form. You know, so I'm sticking with it regardless of what anybody else does.
Interesting, interesting. So are you saying that you are not able to find anything digital that is good enough for you to use for your recording?
No, I'm not saying that, but the human touch for me is always greatest. You know, why get a machine to do something that a person can do? You know, and I don't need perfection, I need art. Digital stuff is perfection. Every beat is exactly on point. I'd rather play music by the heartbeat. So we're not looking for perfection. We're just looking for art.
How long did it take you to record this album of 11 solid tracks?
I think couple months. Couple months, yeah, 2-3 months.
I'm sure it cost a lot of money as well.
Well, you know, everything costs money and you have to spend. So it depends on where you want to spend. You can spend it at the doctor. You can spend it buying alcohol or whatever. Or you can spend it making art. So I chose to spend mine making art.
I have followed your music for some time now, and I realize that you are a very powerful lyricist and also a very soulful singer and a performer as well, a guitarist as well. Now, for this album, I realized that you decided to include some other vocalists with you. What kind of thinking came into that?
Well, you know, this kind of happened organically, you know. I know Zion. I've seen Zion while I was on the road touring. And I knew a brother called Professor Skank, who owns Skank Productions. And the story's a little long. I'm going to make it as short as I can. So there's a radio station in St. Louis called KDHX that was being shut down. And there was a festival or show for it. And it kind of rained out. And what they decided was we should try to continue this. But somebody brought up the idea of doing an album. And as a way of you know, whatever it was. But they reached out to me through that very conversation, and I agreed. And they asked if I would be willing to write an album for Zion Albert. And I said I couldn't write an album for anybody. I can only write an album for myself. Because I don't know what kind of vibration that person has. And I have not lived with them or known them long enough to be able to write for them. And even then, I truly cannot tell what a man is thinking and what a man wants. So I decided I would write the album for myself and I would feature Zion on it.
So you wrote every note of the music. Did you write everything in there? All the lyrics?
Yeah, man, we wrote everything.
Wow.
But I mean, we have, I wrote all the songs. And I have to talk about the people who were part of the process. Shelton Garner, who I think is the greatest musician I know, who is very able to articulate my vision. You know, when you say something as a guitar player and you want it to be done in piano or something else, and you want a certain vibe to it, Shelton is the man who articulates that vision. We have to thank Sydney. She's a wonderful friend of mine, Sydney Mills. Who I have to say, just for connection purposes, Shelton Garner is the guitar player for Easy Star All Stars.
Wow! So you got in a beautiful collaboration with a guitarist and also a sound engineer and a keyboardist who used to play for Steel Pulse, right?
Yes.
Sydney Mills.
Yes. So Sydney got, and then Zion and myself and, you know, other little influences and other little vibes added in. But, you know, the thing was, Sydney and Shelton were not going to be on the album. But I figured it was something that was worthy to do.
Interesting.
Because not only are these people friends of mine, they're wonderful musicians, and I think they deserve all the acclaim that they can get.
And you decided
so when I asked them for the pictures of themselves, they didn't know the pictures were going to go on the cover of the album.
Wow. Wow.
They thought it was just going to go inside. But I am very honored to know these two brothers.
Wow.
And I'm happy to have them be part of this collaborative effort.
Wonderful, wonderful. Taj Weekes is my guest, and he's speaking to us from his base in New York. He's originally from St. Lucia, and of course, he's been made a chief right here in Ghana. He was in Ghana, and we had a very beautiful concert. Oh my God, have mercy, what a performer. Now, Taj Weekes is in there for a Grammy consideration with his album, Eyes to See. What an album. all recorded live, powerful and very strong. Now, Taj, let us look at this song here called Wide Range. In fact, it's my favorite, or better still, one of my biggest favorites on the album. Is called Wilder Range. Wider Range. Wider Range. You're talking about the digital world. What message really is in this message, in this song?
You know, it's funny. I just saw a friend of mine just sent me something that said, wouldn't it be wonderful if social media shut down at 6 o'clock all over the world and let people start reasoning with one another? The same way you shut down your business, shut down social media at a particular time everywhere around the world to give people enough time to spend time with themselves and with their families.
Wow.
You know? And to reason. But what has happened in the digital world is, it's sad, is that what you see is what you get. And what you want keeps being repeated and sent back to you all the time. So you're living in this maze of everything you think is right, and you had no opposing viewpoint. And whenever you hear an opposing viewpoint, you get angry with people because you don't think it's possible that there can be an opposing viewpoint, because your entire world is revolved in everything that you like.
His Excellency, I love to call him His Royal Excellency Taj Weekes. He's also an ambassador for the UN, my brother, my sister, when it comes to music, all the way to St. Lucia. My brother, my sister, his album is called Eyes to See. 11-track album, very bombastic. Now you are one of the 75 being considered for a Grammy. How do you see your chances?
Well, I don't know. I mean, if I am true to myself, could you give me one quick second? This dog needs to go outside, so I'm apologizing to your audience. I will be back.
This is 3FM.
This is...
And I'm back.
Interesting.
my chances, I think if this is about art, if this is truly about art,
right,
I would have won 6 Grammys already.
Wow. Say it again.
If this is truly about art and not about nepotism and politics, I would have won 6 Grammys already.
This is 3FM.
Wow. Do you think it's going to continue like that? Still about nepotism and politics? Or this year will be different?
Isn't this what life is? Isn't this what life has become?
Wow. So in your opinion, you always put in the best music. And by now you should have had like 6 Grammys. And every time you don't get one. How does it make you feel?
I don't feel anyway. You know, as much as this elevates who you are in the eyes of the people, I tell people that I'd rather be, let's see if I can, I'd rather be Toni Morrison than Danielle Steele. And what I mean by that, for those who may not understand, Toni Morrison, I think, is the most incredible writer. But Danielle Steele is a popular writer who turned millionaire upon millionaire, selling what I would call trash.
This is 3FM.
You know, I was once interviewed by Africa One in Paris, and the brother asked me, how come we don't know about you and you make such wonderful music? And I said to him, you know, we're like this little cafe in the corner of Paris that a few people know of, but when they go there, they know they will always get good food. You know? And that's what it's become. And like I said to you in the beginning, I'm here to make art. And I know I make good art. And everybody's not going to get the art. But that doesn't lessen the value of the art.
Interesting. Let me ask you this interesting question. I'm going to return to this thing again. You know, you write songs for so many different artists across the world. You are very, very widely toured. Tell me, have you written a song for anybody who got a Grammy before?
No. And I haven't written for the kinds of people who do Grammy things. So... Because I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
There's a brother who played for a popular band who got kicked off the band for a minute. And I met him down in Virginia. And I was there, I was going to write some songs for him. And the day before, we had a little show, and, you know, he acted in a way that I thought was inappropriate because it was about ego. And then I left the venue, not performing because I was supposed to perform after him. I left the venue, I went home, I went to the hotel, and in the morning, I drove back to our base in New York, and they called me along the way to ask me what happened. And I said, if your ego was so bruised and so big for that little event, that you're not worthy of the songs that I write.
Wow.
You see, there's no ego involved in this. This is just for the art.
Wow. Wow. Now, you are not Jamaican. Jamaica is the home of reggae. How do Jamaicans treat you when you go around performing your music and all that? I know you've been to Jamaica too. How do they receive you?
I have nothing negative to say. I have not been treated in any particular way by anybody because I don't allow myself to be treated in any particular way. If I find myself in any situation that I find uncomfortable and a vexation of my spirit, I step off and step out. But I have not been in those situations, so I've been fine.
I was speaking with a Jamaican news blog, and they were also praising your album, that you have an authentic reggae album that really represents Jamaica. Would you agree that your album represents Jamaica?
My album represents whomever it wants to represent, you know, because this is how I feel about this. The music was created in Jamaica. I will always be thankful, and I will give all the praise to Jamaica for creating this incredible music.
This is 3FM.
A root was planted, and a tree grew. And the branches of that very tree grew over other fences. And the fruit fell in other yards. And other trees grew up from that. And the process continued. So even if I'm 5, 6, 7 trees or 8 yards down the line, I am still from the original root. You know? Because in the end, all this boils down to African music.
That's right.
And are we not all each other learning and taking from each other? But we're all African people. So in the end, it doesn't really matter. You may want it to matter for your little narrow-minded purposes, but it doesn't matter. And it's only the people who think that minute will have an issue with it. But everybody else loves what we do, and we love what everybody else does.
Right. Taj, you are a very well-taught artist. Tell me, how do you prepare for performances? Apart from, aside rehearsal, what do you do on the day of your performance?
I try to stay as quiet as I can.
You don't talk?
No, I talk. You see, what I do is I sing my entire shows. All the time. So if I'm going to do a 2-hour show, I sing for 3 hours.
Wow.
And if I'm going to tour in a month's time, I do it every day for the month.
Wow.
So when I'm on tour, I don't lose my voice because I've exercised. It's a muscle as well, and it needs to be exercised. You know? And I make sure that I am fit enough that I can give a decent performance and I don't get tired on the stage.
Interesting.
So, Eat right, and I don't do dairy at all. I'm a complete and absolute vegan.
Oh wow.
So if I should get a cold because it's a virus, if I should get it on tour, it doesn't affect my voice because I have no mucus in my system.
Wow. Wow. Did you hear that? The man says it's a vegan.
This is 3FM.
And if he ever gets a cold whilst he is on tour, it doesn't affect his voice because he has no mucus in his system. A lot of reggae artists also like to use ganja. Do you sometimes touch it, or when you are going on stage, you don't use it at all?
I use it different times, you know. Whatever I feel it's convenient for the time and the purpose, then it will be used.
Interesting. Interesting. How do you use it? Do you boil it and drink it, or do you smoke it, or do you steam it, or do you just, you know, set it on fire and inhale it?
I do whatever it takes. You know, different times dictate different things, you know. I think what is interesting about herb, like everything else, it should not be abused. You know, now people like to talk about herb and think of it as this distant, devilish thing. But, you know, it's you know, everybody have their thing. Some people eat too much food. Some people drink too much liquor. Some people shop too much. Some people steal too much. Some people tell too many lies. And
this is 3FM.
You know, so we use herb, and we use herb not to abuse it, but for the benefits that it brings to us.
His name is Taj Weekes, His Royal Excellency. Oh my God. Originally from St. Lucia, coming through Africa and touring around the world with quality music. He plays with the Adoa Band. My brother, my sister. This is Taj Weekes on 92.7 in Living Stereo 3FM, live and colored across the whole universe. We are your urban lifestyle radio. Now, Taj, tell me this. Have you ever been intimidated by an artist that you're supposed to be performing with? I know you do a lot of festivals.
It was a serious thought until you made me laugh. Thank you. No, man. No. That can't happen.
I know a lot of reggae artists.
We shouldn't be afraid of any other human being on the face of the earth. Because if you know you're bringing your best, you don't have to be afraid of anybody.
You don't really care about how the people receive you. Maybe some artist comes and is jumping all over the place, everybody's shouting, hey, 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 and you come in as the next performer. Do you sometimes have that kind of shiver? Do you shiver sometimes? How am I going to be received? Do you have that chill sometimes?
No. I take the Miles Davis approach to music. You know, I'm going to do me regardless. And I'm never going to become gimmicky and change who I am because of an audience. This is who I am. This is who I'm going to be, and I will never change. I mean, change, we all change because change is the only change. You know, but no, man, no. I don't care what this brother did before me. That's this brother. I am going to do me.
Have you ever had any concert anywhere in the world where the person who came before you, whether you were supposed to come immediately or not, you got so annoyed you had to walk away, maybe because of the lyrics of the person, maybe the performance of the person? Have you ever pulled out of any concert like that?
No, I've never been booed out of any concert. What was the previous question about coming right after them?
I was asking if you went to have a performance and then the artist that came before you put up a certain performance that you got angry about, maybe you didn't like, your vibes didn't check for that. Did you ever have that kind of feeling and you decided not to play at all?
No, because again, you know, what I think we bring to the table is always unique. And I think it needs to be heard. And if that person did something that was offensive, then I should bring something positive.
Positive.
You know? So I wouldn't run away from it, you know?
2 more questions and Taj, we are done. Oh my God. Yes. Now watch this. Bob Marley is in the category. And I know that you love Bob Marley so much. You love Bob Marley. You are in the same category as Bob Marley. If you were the one to choose, who should win? Should it be Taj or should it be Bob?
It should be me, period.
Interesting. Over Bob Marley?
Definitely.
Any reasons?
Bob Marley played the most incredible music. Bob Marley will always be the greatest. Everybody already knows him. He doesn't need a Grammy.
Wow.
All right?
Wow.
And Bob did his time. And it's now time that we do some other thing.
This is deep.
You know, listen, I cannot take anything away from Bob. There will never be anybody as great as he was. But we have to tell the stories in new ways for another generation.
I have some chills, man.
And we need to have different voices being heard. So everybody's already heard him. Most people have not heard me. Why not give me the chance?
Oh my God. This is deep. It's the best thing I've heard the whole year. Now tell me, Taj, I have tears in my eyes. Whoa, this is serious. Tell me, Taj, are you saying that the Bob Marley family is not thinking the same way you're thinking, and they still think Bob Marley needs a Grammy? That's why they put in his album for the Grammy.
Well, I don't know if it was their decision, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's a label's decision. I don't know who made that decision. And it really doesn't matter what they were thinking. To them, more power. I don't think they're thinking that. I don't think they're not thinking. I don't know what they're thinking. I never try to think of what they're thinking. But
interesting.
I know what we're thinking. That
this is 3FM.
He doesn't need it. He certainly doesn't need it. He has everything already. I don't know of anybody in the world that doesn't know Bob Marley.
We all do.
You know? So giving him another feather in his cap is not going to change his greatness. You know? He's as great as he can be. He is the greatest.
I see where you're coming from.
Can you give the greatest anything? No, they are the greatest already. It doesn't make them greatest. They're already greatest.
We have just about 3 more minutes to go. Taj, tell me, you've listened to some of the 75 albums. Tell me, which is the worst album you've listened to in that category?
This is 3FM.
The worst album. No, man, it's just somebody else's interpretation of art. You know, it might not be what I dig, and I won't call it the worst, but there's some horrible ones in there. Definitely. You know, listen, man. I hope they do the right thing. I hope that it's time to do the right thing. It's time. I'll tell you lots of reasons why it's the time to do the right thing. We cannot contain the music. The music cannot be contained to one geographical location. The music is like water. It cannot be kept in a box. You know, we say in one of our songs, we've been searching for what's it? We've been searching for the branches for what's only in the root. You know, we have to, if the music has to grow, it has to grow. We can't contain it. You know, and the DJs who are playing music have to look beyond their borders and play everybody's music. Yeah,
for real.
Because it can't grow. I mean, I once made this, you know, I was asked a particular question in some place in France. And I said, listen, if I was going to be a chef, you know, and I was going to cook, I would want to have all kinds of flavors in my kitchen.
That's true.
You know, because after a while, the food gets boring. People are eating the same thing over and over and over. Their palates get dry, you know? And no matter if you put less salt or more curry or less cumin or less jerk, and you mix it up, it's the same flavor.
Out of the 75 albums you listen to, if you were the head of the Reggae Grammy, which 5 albums would you throw out?
I don't remember the 5, but I can remember, gosh. I don't know, it's difficult. The album I actually remember is yours. I know there's some other people. There was, I think the Whalers are in there. Romain Virgo was in there. Spice, a couple other people. I don't remember them. And I cannot, if I had a list in front of me, I could run down and tell you, but I don't remember. I certainly don't remember. I don't remember. I couldn't pick a 5.
On the day, if you pick up the Grammy, would you be surprised?
Would I be surprised? if I am nominated, I wouldn't be surprised.
Wow. You'll be surprised.
If I'm nominated, I might be surprised for a nomination, but if I am nominated and the people who are judging are fair, I will win.
If you did win.
But if I'm nominated, don't matter which 5 you put in.
Yeah.
If the people who are judging are fair to the art form that we are in, which is reggae, I will win.
Let's say that you have won. If you have won and you are called up to the rostrum, what would you say?
Thank you.
That's all?
Yeah, because I'm not going to put out anybody's business there.
Taj Weekes, I want to say thank you so much for talking to us. I mean, you have such a beautiful album, and I keep listening to this album over and over. My biggest song on the album is Wider Range. I also love Gentrification. Oh my God, the Naya Bingy flavor and all that. And there's no song on the album I don't love. Trust me. I want to say thank you so much for talking to us. If you have any final words you want to share with my listeners, please fly.
The message is always the same, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. And let your vibes be high. And let your message be forever mighty.
Taj Weekes, I want to say thank you so much. Before you go, sing me 1 line or 2 lines of Wider Range.
We are living in a bubble, hearing our own views, lost in echo chambers, all we peruse. I changed the melody a little bit for you because you heard it the other way already.
I know, I know. And you write so many songs. I mean, sometimes you write about 5, 6 songs in a day and much more.
Well, it depends on how the vibration goes. Sometimes you hear somebody say something, you see something, and it just, I don't know if it's a formula, but, you write the first verse and you try to counteract it with something else.
I understand.
And then I go back to the second line of the song is always the most important.
Interesting, man.
For me.
Wow.
Because it dictates the direction of the song.
All right. All right, so Taj, I want to say thank you so much. I appreciate you for talking to us and inspiring us this afternoon and, of course, morning in America. And blessed. Thank you so much for talking to us. We love you.
We give thanks, man. We give thanks.
Yeah.